it's really important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom. So we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels. That's a new intro that I made like literally 20 minutes ago of everyone doing their little drunk intros. I can see by Zenith shaking his head that he totally approves of it. Welcome to this here Whiskey Wednesday with the DGen Roundtable. Tonight, I am joined by Brendan, I'm joined by Zenith, and I'm joined by Nate, and I'm joined by all you beautiful folks at home. So welcome to the Whiskey Wednesday. We're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on in Japan, what's going on with some price action, what's going on all over the place. I am sipping on some Soledad Jalisco or Yancito Soledad tequila. Brendan, what are you sipping on, bro? Welcome.
Thank you, brother. I was so I went to this happy hour in Brickell, Miami, near where I live, with a buddy, and it was great. The happy hour there is 50% off liquor, 50% off oysters, 50% off glasses of wine, and 50% off women. I mean, no, wait, sorry. Last part. I didn't mean that. No, but seriously, 50% off all liquors under $25. So you can get a martini for like $10. It's a super fancy restaurant. It's like white table. It's like white cloth dining. So they make really good cocktails. So it's the best happy hour in Miami, and I don't want people to know that. So my buddy Albert is listening now. So we just came back from the bar, and it was a good time. He's very based. He's deep into crypto. And also very religious. So it's great. So I'm sipping right now on what I got as a to-go drink on the way home. On the walk home is my Irish pub. And so I popped in. I was like, hey, can I get a drink to go? And so we got drinks to go. So this is a gin and soda. Nothing fancy. But yeah, so it's a good day. I have a lot on my mind to share. And I'm going to pass it off before I speak for too long.
I will confirm that Irish bar is quite awesome and outstanding. That's a good place. And I highly recommend that all you guys go visit Mr. Anonymous Bean down there in Miami, Florida. Mr. Zenith, what's new and exciting with you, bro? What you sipping on tonight?
Not much. I'm doing my usual strategy of trying to confuse my body and always keep it guessing. So, sorry, Mike Tyson there. So we have, exactly, we have coffee, a silver bullet, and key lime LaCroix.
Ooh, very good.
Is there any Jameson or Tullamore Dew in your coffee?
Yeah, this is black as the night, baby.
I suggest adding a little bit of this.
I mean, definitely can. It's definitely an option. I'm not a huge fan of just putting like straight booze in coffee. Usually it's something like, I don't know, just like Kahlua or Bailey's is usually what I go for.
The only thing that makes coffee better, because coffee is terrible on its own.
I don't know what coffee is a lifeblood, brother, and I am continuing a very time-honored seagoing tradition of how do we say
drinking,
lacquering the inside of this vessel and only ever rinsing it with water.
Oh, bro, you rinse your coffee cups? You're shame on you.
Hey. It's a little bit of rinse, but
he didn't say wash. He said rinse.
Correct. The patina of flavor is strong.
The enlisted do not clean their cups at all. That must be an officer thing. But anyways, we're going on a little bit too long and too strong here. We got to introduce one more person. Then I'll send it right on back to you, Mr. Zenith. Nate, what's going on, bro? What are you drinking tonight? I see that you're probably drinking blood everywhere. Judging
I'm
by your little
drinking
subtitle.
blood, and to enjoy the blood. You know, obviously for the show, you know, I was bathing in blood earlier, but you know, I had to just get out of the shower and everything. And now I have made myself my first ever drink, you know, ever. So
Nice. Welcome
yeah,
to the world of adulthood with drinks and things.
hell yeah. No, I stepped out of the blood zone for a little while, and I'm going to step into the drinking zone, alcohol zone here for a little while, and kind of see what's going on. This has been a hell of a week so far. And what should I say? Just a hell of a day. Just Monday, everything gone. It was, dude. Oh my god. So what was so hilarious about this was I was sick and basically in bed, so I was just like nothing, right? And then all of a sudden I wake up to like 300 messages in our community chat, and I'm just going through them like, oh, apparently all hell broke loose. And then I go to the charts, and I'm just like, take a day off and see what happens, right? But hell yeah, you know, like Bean, I know you got a lot to talk about in this one. I was researching quite a bit into this as well. Some very interesting stuff here. So I say, let's get into it. However, I think we're doing a little bit of TA first, right?
Can I say one thing before we start? I just want to, so in our Telegram, right? It's free. You can join. I want to read a message that someone posted at 5:20 Eastern time today. He said, how is this Telegram community chat free? In capital letters. The amount of value and the quality of information of the last week was solid. I love the fact that crypto-related info has its own channel, so I can dip, consume, and stay on top of the things that I love. Absolutely love what each of the founding members bring value to the table. Merci beaucoup. I literally just read that from our chat. We want you to be in here. When the other Telegram chat founders weren't around, we were literally having live streams. We were literally giving you info on Monday. In fact, Zenith, Will, and I on Sunday night were watching this happen live. And what did we say?
Oh, it's so fun.
For Monday, because when the market's open, there's going to be some blood.
Dude.
So if you watched our Sunday show, you would have already known what to expect Monday when markets opened, honestly. And it was actually worse than we had anticipated. Zenith, you're muted.
Thank you, brother. If I recall correctly, on Sunday, we watched in real time the price of Ethereum go from like $2,800 all the way down to the wick low of like, what was it, $2,150 or something?
Yeah, like 2,200 around there somewhere, yeah.
It went sub 22, and we saw it. Like, I remember I pulled it up. It was there. It was wild.
It was wild. And literally, what did we say? We said, wait till Monday at markets open, because there's going to be blood. We aren't done. Now, some things happened that allowed the blood and the bloodbath to alleviate a little bit, which we will talk about tonight. But Will, get us back on track, buddy.
Yes, to get us back on track. What are we talking about? So we are talking, I mean, we're basically on track right now. I mean, we can cover a little bit of TA if you guys want right now, or actually, no, just kidding. We've got a very important thing to do. I happen to look over at the window where my magical folder appears, the chat motherfucking shout outs. For the folks at home who don't know, we like to shout out the audience members on this here channel. So if you guys got something to say, make sure you write it down in the chats. And the first time you pop on into the stream, we'll definitely start and highlight it. And then we take special attention, or we pay special attention and make sure to take care to read your guys' chats as we're going through the streams and everything. But starting off with our very own Ken Turian 54X. Mrs. Producer, there we go. What's up, Degens? Any updates from Kool-Aid and the gift team? There are no updates that I am aware of. I am back in Texas, so I can swing down there at some point, and I'm planning on saying hi to him in the relatively near future. I had to shoot
Will, are they going to join us for the second half of the show, the gift guys?
The gift guys? I wouldn't count on it, but I can shoot him a message and see if he's down to hop on.
We can definitely ask. I would bet money that Kool-Aid is sleeping right now.
Yeah, this is during his normal sleeping time because other people are awake.
Yeah, I can actually answer this one though for Kenterian, right?
Oh, so yeah, go for it.
Yeah, 54 cent. Pulsar is just about ready to go. Is it coming out next week? Maybe. Is that a guarantee? No, but yeah, it's about to come out. Also, they were thinking about and taking votes on what their next little thingy is going to be. However, it's kind of slowed down, you know, the whole hype and all that, and they're kind of just backing off a little bit. However, as soon as this starts, the rest of this bull market, the alt season really starts taking off here, and they start, you know, injecting liquidity into our economy, then yeah, they'll probably heat it back up and keep everything rolling again.
True. I mean, as far as everything going on with that team right now, someone correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but they had the initial launch of GIF almost half a year ago at this point. Then they had PGIF, which I think is coming up on 5 months now. And then they did the Nope and PLUSD token, the perma versions of that. They also are working on FanForge. So go get your FanForge merch if you want, by the way. And then other than that, they're continuing to work on Pulsar. That is one of the big projects. I know there were some questions that came up because my understanding of the project is that it shares a lot of similarities with the Titan X program, or the project, so to speak. And the Titan X project had some issues with founders dumping tokens. I want to say this was like 3-4 months ago almost at this point. Kind of wild to think about. But that was exclusively a Titan X thing, and I'm pretty sure that Pulsar is going to be completely separate of that, other than the idea of it's trying to merge value across chains, which I'm very much looking forward to. And I think that projects like that have a lot of wind in their sails right now if they can get it right. And by the way, I know there's another project trying to do that right now, and I believe it might even be successful. And that founder might even be in here and rode in on his camel, so hopefully we have a chance to talk to him later. That's Fast Abdul with the 2Fucks protocol. But yeah, for all the gift tech stuff, go check out Kool-Aid. Go check out Gifford himself. They have a Telegram. They're both very active on Twitter as well. So shoot him a message, DM, like, follow, whatever. I know Kool-Aid will appreciate a good meme or a Baldur's Gate 3 meme as well.
If you wish to get a hold of Kool-Aid, though, you have to call him like an adult. Other than that, like, good luck getting through to him. So there is that. There is always that caveat when dealing with our good friend Kool-Aid. But yeah, so that is your pseudo update for that thing, Mrs. Producer. We'll go ahead and roll on to the next comment, and it comes from our very own Tam Tam. What's up, fam? What's up, Tam Tam? Always good to see the #1 Pulse Chain, Hex, and cryptocurrency cheerleader in the space. Glad to see you, and glad to see you're doing all right. Frank White is up next with the Bang Bang Pulse Gang. Bang Bang, good sir. Right back to you. Next up, we got Fast Abdul. Commenting on Bean being drunk and horny. I cannot confirm one of those things, but the other one I'm fairly certain is the case, and I will leave it up to you guys to guess which it is. And there we go with Zenith responding risky and a frisky. I like it. All right, and that I think. Oh, just kidding. We have one more, Mrs. Producer, if you wouldn't mind. Hex Glenn just pulled up. What's up, Hex Glenn? Good to see you, fam. Most excellent to have you over here in the chats. Welcome to Whiskey Wednesday. I kind of, excuse me. I think that we're gonna next up do a little bit of TA and market analysis or something like that. Zenith, are you ready to roll in that stage and arena? Good, sir.
Yes, sir. Just let me pull up my screen.
Okie dokie.
All right. This is Producer. If you're ready, I am ready as well. Well, folks, there you go. That's what we've been seeing lately. This is the Bitcoin chart, and yeah, those are some rather large red candles, so to speak. Yeah, this is the view that we've been looking at for a hot minute now, which is the Bitcoin chart ever since we hit all-time highs back in March. So previously, I think we're coming up on 2 weeks right about now, almost 2 weeks. So on day 24 of the cycle, we had a cycle high just about above $70,000 for Bitcoin. And then we have our new cycle low. It cracked just a hair below 50,000. So it's at 49,700 right now. And there is a distinct possibility that it could go lower this cycle, considering that low happened on day 31. Typically, most of the cycles, pretty much unless it's a failed cycle, the shortest that they've really ever gone is like 41, maybe 42 days, depending on how you count the timing of it. But the point being, the cycle's not over yet, which means that there's probably more action to the downside because we measure cycle low to cycle low or cycle high to cycle high. So there's a decent chance that maybe at the end of August we have something come up. There are potentially a few more macro events that could do the trick. But as of right now, the market's pretty much just trying to recover off of what it is right now. If you want to zoom in, one of the possible things is that this recovery off of our recent low, when we actually double tapped it twice, we hit this 49,000 level twice on the 4-hour chart, is that it's very possible this could be what's commonly referred to as a dead cat bounce, aka it dropped a lot, maybe hit some resistance and has come back up before it has more energy to keep going down again. On the 4-hour chart itself, the RSI is very low, and it's continuing to make, well, it continued to make one higher low, a second higher low, and now we've dipped below that, and we went right back to this other level on the RSI. So it's very possible that we can't keep going down from here. And my personal opinion on this one is that I would not be surprised if we saw it kind of just like chop sideways and grind down for a while, because if we stretch our cycle out to that minimum of 42 days, we're pretty much 8 days away from it, considering we're on day 34 right now. So if we kind of just move down into the right slowly, or chop sideways, have one more wick downwards before a recovery up, that makes perfect sense in my mind. Right now, the major support levels that I've seen on the way down include 50,500, which we broke through, and the next one is about $48,000. After that, we do have some more at about 44,500, and another one sitting here at about 38K. It's possible to get down there, but we would have to, again, have some very serious news here going on. Unfortunately, with stuff in the international markets right now, the Iran-Israel kind of like smack talking is still going on, and no one has actually struck yet, which means that if we do get some sort of large-scale conflict on the international stage, that is one of the things that could potentially scare the markets a good bit, because I want to say it was back here in May, like literally the 1st of May and the end of April, is that we had the Hamas Israel stuff going on, and Iran jumped in as well, and we saw these two big red candles over here. So that kind of stuff does have a factor in the international stage, and it's entirely possible for more of that stuff to pop off for now. But other than that, I think the reality is that the markets are also kind of taking a hit as well. This is where we're seeing a lot of the stuff when it comes to traditional finance, is that I have the S&P 500 pulled up right now. We did make new all-time highs of about $5,600 or $565 on the 16th of July. And then since then, it's been a grind down sideways. Notably, we had these two very large gap days. So keep in mind that the traditional markets don't trade 24/7, and instead they have to operate on basically the East Coast stock trading times. So that's where you can see this non-continuous chart where you get these gaps coming up. And that happened on Thursday going into Friday. And then obviously we had the weekend where we had all of our fun news. And then when the markets opened on Monday morning, they started all the way down here at 510. So on traditional markets, it's possible that we can be moving down to a support level, but there's not really enough data to find a distinct support level yet. On the weekly chart, it looks somewhat similar, but it looks like the next possible support level might be 493 as opposed to the local of about 510. So that's what's going on in traditional markets. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting right now is that Ethereum is actually on a bit of a different trajectory than Bitcoin as of today and yesterday, which is that if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, we had major wick low, bit of a recovery, chops sideways mostly. Ethereum, wick low, sideways recovery, downwards action, still very much in the oversold territory on the RSI. So back on the Bitcoin chart, RSI is out of the oversold area, sitting at about 32. Right now, Ethereum still very, very deep in the oversold territory. This is some of the most oversold we've seen it since back in August. I want to say this is actually when we saw a lot of liquidations going on. I think we had about $500,000 worth of liquidations for this week right here. In this one day alone, we saw $1.1 billion of liquidations on the crypto market. So this is definitely a bit of a larger event. And in fact, the volume candle on this one is so large, it actually covers up this wick when I have it on the automatic scale. So just as a scale of reference for how much people sold off during this event, it on one day alone pretty much doubled most other days outside of that one random day when it was 2 days early for the announcement of the Ethereum ETF. But that is a little bit tinfoil hat theory. Regardless, though, I think Ethereum is one of the cryptocurrencies to pay attention to coming up. So definitely do that. Outside of that, we're going to talk about what is now cementing itself very much so as the number 3 coin. Jay and I have been harping on this one for a hot minute, and I apologize to anybody else on the team that has also been beating the drum, but I think he and I are the ones that have been really trying to plant our flag on that one, and that is Solana. On the Sunday show, I remember I talked about how Solana was defending this 120 level with a vengeance and that we probably wouldn't see a move below it. Unfortunately, I was wrong in one half, but correct in sort of the mentality of it, which is that Solana did have a wick low down to about 110. So nothing too catastrophic. And on the RSI, it technically didn't even get into the oversold territory. But the point of Solana is that it has rebounded a lot better than any of the other tokens after this. So what's going on right now is that Solana is on a different trajectory than even Ethereum and Bitcoin. Because remember, Bitcoin recovered and is going sideways, and it looks like it's starting to go down. Solana has recovered and gone pretty much up and to the right, so to speak. So Solana is back well within the trading range that has been established ever since the Bitcoin highs back in March. So again, right now, I think it shows that there's a lot of support, or there's a lot of people defending higher price levels on Solana, aka active whales in the community or in the blockchain, because at this point, it's so large that it's really a conglomeration of communities overall. And again, I think it's kind of crazy to say it, but I think just the sheer volume of meme coin trading that has happened on Solana over the last 6 months has helped bolster it to the point that it is. Even though we like to give the chain a lot of flack and say that it can't even stay online for more than 6 months at a time, it still somehow is on the chart. It looks better than a lot of the other tokens that we're going to be taking a look at. Again, there's a bunch of other altcoins that have continued to bleed. Phantom is down at about 30 cents. Again, not really much support on the way down. There was a support here down at about 27 cents, but it broke below that temporarily. Gala, or excuse me, how about Fetch? We'll look at Fetch first. Fetch hit another support level right around this 79, 78 cent level. Illuvium is actually pretty much almost at all-time lows. We had a wick down to about like 34, I want to say. I don't think we actually have any data that is lower than that on the chart that I have. But as of right now, this is pretty much almost new all-time lows for Illuvium, which is notable because it did just have the full game release on July 25th. So that is slightly concerning, possibly. Or you can take... There's multiple ways to approach that one, but I think it is a bit of a head-scratcher personally. Tone Coin, similar charts as well, but this one has been very much higher and up and to the right and held higher for longer than a bunch of the other coins. So that is, again, the Telegram coin. That one's looking pretty good. And sure, why not? We'll throw a meme coin in here. Pepe made a new local low, but still has not gone lower than after its first like real mega pump back in February. This is even this is on the run up of the Bitcoin all-time high. So this is even a little bit of a front runner / a little bit early when it came to all the Bitcoin pump. And for a meme coin, it has stayed very high for very long, which is interesting to see. Outside of that, we'll go look back at some other L1s. Cardano, similar story. We wicked down really far. Recovery has been largely sideways, we'll call it. AVAX, about $20 right now. Bit of a steeper decline for longer. So that's what's going on that front. And then outside of that, I do have some other stuff to pull up regarding, or sorry, do we have any questions on this before we go look at Pulse Chain? There's some interesting data on that one.
No, I'll just say that, you know, meme coins obviously have to be a little bit worrisome of, but Pepe seems to be the next Doge. It seems to be a staple in the meme community. It seems to be setting itself as essentially a real token. You know, it's held up, it's done well, and it might be in a buy zone. It's looking good before the next run up. I'm not saying buy right now, but I'm saying watch it.
I think that depending on your strategy, it could be in a buy zone. I'm not saying that it absolutely is, but again, depending on what kind of strategy you're going for as an investor or trader, it could be in that area. The only disagreement I'm going to have on this with you is that I think Dog with Hat is actually solidifying itself as the number 2 meme coin a bit better than Pepe.
Agreed, but I think it gives Pepe a little bit more risk, but also a little bit more opportunity for growth. And so that's why right now I think Pepe's a better buy than Dog with Hat.
There you go.
Not financial advice. It's just my personal opinion.
Completely agreed.
I agree with that. All right. Is that all you had, Zenith?
As far as that goes, yeah. I did want to ask what you guys think about the traditional markets going on, because when we look at the crypto markets, Ethereum pretty much has dropped 30% in the course of a week, maybe a little bit longer than that. And then Bitcoin has dropped about 20%. Some of the other altcoins has dropped even more substantially than that. I want to say that something like Phantom is currently down about like 68%. But when it comes to traditional finance, technically from the wick high of the 16th of July to the wick low on Monday, that's only about a 10% drop. So
that sounds about right. A 20% drop will cause people in stocks to just panic. Basically, like a 20% drop is like what we would consider a 70% drop to them. So before we move on into that, though, because I know Bean is about to go.
Nate, wait, hold on. Nate, you panic over 70% drop?
Yes, I do. I'm up to $1 million, and all of a sudden it drops 70%. I'm not happy.
If you're down 70% right now today, for the audience out there, I know you aren't. I know I'm not, but say you are. So you're down 70%. Are you worried at all right now?
As of right now, hell no. And I'm actually about to go ahead, bring up my screen. I'm about to show why. This right here. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? Now, obviously, I'm not a TA guy, but I took a lot of different former cycles. I kind of looked at the similarities between the true alt season and everything, and then I ended up creating this chart. And this was way back over here. This was before the halvening that I actually made this. I think it was, I want to say it was March, if I'm remembering properly, that I actually created this chart here. And the whole idea here is like, hey, we're supposed to get this big drop off, which is the red zone, right? And then we shoot up into the green. So if you look at the past over here, and like this, it's like a big drop off, huge shoot up, right? It's always like this. And so I did a bunch of measuring, kind of equaled out both of those to kind of get a little bit of a generic size in between if we're following the 4-year cycle. And this is what I ended up creating. And look at this. It's scary. This shit is spooky as hell. First off, this was a bit early. So I was not expecting this to top out so early. I kind of figured it would be right around here. And then we would shoot off actually further. But man, we are so close. And see, this is the reason why I am not panicking right now, because I'm expecting more drop off down here, like even worse. So if we don't hit this, in my opinion, I think we're still doing pretty good. And then from here on out, right, starting in August here, and what I was figuring the big, like when we're really starting to feel the alts absolutely exploding, I was expecting right around November and then into actually April, which was over this way when we top out. But it looks like it could be done as soon as January. However, just because this tops out doesn't mean that your specific coin, mainly RH stuff, right? That one lags a little bit. But I'm talking about like Ethereum and then all these other ones like Fetch and Ton and all them. Sol possibly as well. But yes, this right here, it's just spooky how close this is and how well this is actually working out for someone who doesn't do technical analysis, right? So I just wanted to bring that good news to you guys. We are still due to fucking fire up, man. And this is why right now I am celebrating in the blood, and I am taking out more and more loans every single day, over leveraging myself, because I'll tell you what, we are only going up from here. And maybe we get like a muted top or something. That would suck. But I mean, the ETFs should at least make it like average. I don't know. It's just good times are coming. Good times are coming. You guys just gotta come on, have fun with us, okay? I'm over here laughing, having a good old time, because I know that we can only go up from here unless we're actually going to zero. I mean, if we are going to zero, okay, fine, then this actually does suck. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole thing was just, how on a roller coaster you get right up there to the top and then all of a sudden you drop, and that's the fun part, right? That's what I'm kind of feeling this is right now. We kind of went over one of those, hills, and all of a sudden, whee, here we go. I'm having a lot of fun out here, guys. Come on.
Nate, what date did you have set as your red to green transition on your chart?
So red was the halvening. I kind of figured we would top out right around the halvening, and then we would start dropping really quickly right around to August. And then originally I was thinking possibly into September and October, since historically those months have been kind of red. But I kind of figured based on the amount of days that the based on the amount of days that these last two cycles took to really drop from the very top to the bottom. Again, let's see here. This one here was 157 days. This one here was 81 days. Yeah, so I basically like took them and kind of got the middle ground, right? So in the 2017 cycle, or the second cycle, I should say, it actually took quite a while. Whereas in the third cycle, it was pretty short. So I just took them, I kind of condensed them down halfway, and then I made the red box right here. And it looks like my bar got kind of messed up there. Yeah, it's because I was moving things around. But yeah, I ended up squishing it down to the halfway point. And yeah, so it turns out here is going to be in August. And that's where the whole idea of like, I was a bit surprised because it's like it's 2 months earlier than I was expecting, And then all of a sudden the Ethereum ETF goes live 2 months earlier than we thought as well. And I don't know, man. It's just spooky kind of how this stuff works out, I don't know if these traditional market people are like, or maybe secret crypto people, I don't know, but if they're like doing all of this type of technical analysis as well, and they're figuring this stuff out, and so then they like do macro events, right? Do macro events based on all that, or what? But
well, traditional markets typically operate mostly off of quarterly earnings reports. Those are some of the massive triggers that you'll see. I know a lot of options traders specifically try to target the week that they come out. You can even get down to the day or what time you estimate they're going to come out, whether it's like a morning or an afternoon earnings report. So if you're looking for short-term action as a very degen trader, you can do that. But to finish up a point real quick before we continue with this one, the reason that I mentioned that the S&P 500 dropped 10% wick to wick is that keep in mind that on average, the typical gain of a TradFi market normalized over 10 years is about 10%. So you can almost imagine that that's an entire year's worth of gain that was wiped out in pretty much 2 weeks. So that's arguably why the people over there are upset. To get back to the point, though, of when I asked you where you drew that transition on your chart, is that 6 months post-halving is something that we've called out for a hot minute. And I know a lot of people have formed theories around for when the supply side effects of the Bitcoin halving really take off. Mrs. Producer, if you don't mind sharing my screen. There is one more event that lines up with that area, and that is allegedly FTX repayment is coming. So, from Cointelegraph themselves, this is an article back from May 16th, but it is funny that people are consistently reminding of this now that we are even getting the Mt. Gox repayments coming out. Major difference between this repayment and the Mt. Gox repayment is that allegedly the FTX repayment is going to happen in cash, as opposed to Bitcoin.
Fuck.
Zenith, how much is so actually Voyager just another repayment of 600 million in the past week. So I had that 600 million of Voyager also being paid out in cash to people that have been in crypto for what I think that they collapsed 3 years ago, right around FTX. In fact, Voyager collapsed because of FTX. So FTX is paying out. Voyager is paying out their second settlement in cash, like you said, and it's going to be 600 million. So just remember that as well.
For sure. So, according to the article, FTX is set to pay out a minimum of $14.5 billion with a B dollars in cash to users who lost funds on the exchange bankruptcy. I've seen numbers as high as about 16 billion as well. But the point is that according to everything right now, it's in an October 24th deadline. So, Gemini repaid 1.7 billion in early June, and Mt. Gox repaid 8.9 billion. Allegedly, this is an article from May, but this is the timelines coming up. There's not too many bearish bullets left in the magazine, so to speak, but this is one of the ones that's coming up soon. And guess what is exactly 6 months after April 19th? That would be October 19th, pretty much. So yeah, the timing works out well. And the reason that I say that this is I don't really think this might be a bearish news event. I think this is possibly a bullish news event. I'd say that because it's repayment in cash, and this is cash for crypto that was previously lost. We're at the point in the market now where people are expecting it to start popping off soon. So if you get an injection of cash as a crypto investor, what are you probably going to do with it?
Buy hamburgers from McDonald's.
Well, I mean, you don't need to do that. because all the crypto people are working.
Oh, they're working at
right now.
McDonald's, so that's free. Never mind. That might put it back on the market.
Yeah, so it means that there's a good chance it's probably going to go back in the market, aka buy pressure. And I don't know. Last I checked, $16 billion worth of buy pressure is a good bit. So we'll see.
Gina, I have a question for you. So what happens to the actual crypto that FTX holds? Do they have to sell that to pay it back? Like what happens to the crypto? They don't have 16 million. They don't have $16 billion cash. Like there's zero chance. So is that sell and then send?
I don't know. I think that's a very reasonable line of questioning, and that's a very reasonable option to come up with, which is that if the exchange still is holding anything, it's probably holding something that they will have to sell to convert into the cash asset.
So they're holding cash. They're actually holding a fair amount of cash, but they're also holding a lot of crypto. So in my opinion, they're going to have to sell some crypto to be able to pay back 14 billion. I mean, they don't have 14 billion in cash, but I don't know. I'm just curious how that's going to work.
A lot of soul. That would be the soul that they have. They could sell that out.
It's possible, but also keep in mind that one of the reasons that FTX went insolvent in the first place was because they were buying up their own FTX token with customer funds that they were unknowingly borrowing from their customers, and then that thing tanked and went to zero. So
well, they did two things, right? Well, they did two things. They bought their own token, and then the money that they didn't have to buy their own token, they sent to Alameda Research to essentially leverage trade. And by the way, we're going to talk about a worldwide scale leverage trade in just a little bit. And you saw in real time how much leverage can really, really hurt your portfolio real quick.
Are you guys ready to launch into that topic? Because I'm thinking we're ready to launch into it.
Real quick, final notes on what we're talking about right here, which is that we are still 2 months out from the 6-month marker post halvening, and we have potentially a possibly bearish and bullish news event, which is theoretically imagine that FTX sells tokens to get cash to pay people back. People get that cash and use it to in turn buy crypto, pretty much rebuying up the dip that they just created. In my mind, it's a realistic scenario.
Oh, how the fickle-minded can be.
It's not really fickle-minded. It's just one person trying to give money they owe to another person. In order to do so, they just have to liquidate an asset that the person getting the money probably just wants to go buy again.
Yeah, it's just it's all part of the great big circle of what is it called?
Red candles.
No, money laundering. That's the word. It's all part of the great big circle of money laundering.
By the way, I didn't see any politicians give money back to FTX. Like they clawed back money from everybody that they loaned to, but they didn't claw back any money from the politicians that they donated billions of dollars to. Huh? Interesting.
What a pity. What a
I want to say the grand total
do you have
was 100 million that was donated to political campaigns in 2020 or 2022.
The number one. So at that time, he was the number one donator politically.
Yep. I remember that. Both he wasn't number one for Republicans, but he was a large contributor to several of the.
He was number one for Democrats. He only donated a very small amount to Republicans. The vast majority, 95+%, was to the Democratic Party. Facebook also was one of the largest donors last cycle. They have already said they're going to donate zero to the Democratic Party this cycle. So no FTX, no Facebook. Now X is allowing free speech. The CIA can't tell X what to do. So it's a very interesting election cycle. This is not what we're talking about today at all. I'm just saying very interesting. We're talking about FTX, how much influence FTX and X, Facebook back then, and Facebook and Instagram had in the last election. Almost 3 of those things are gone now. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Google, unfortunately, picking up some of the slack.
Just to make sure that we have the receipts, Mrs. Producer, if you don't mind, I do have a Reuters article saying that, yes, it was, in fact, $100 million in stolen FTX funds that was donated to politicians. So, Bean, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, political donations are non-refundable.
What a pity.
Oh, but why is that? Oh, wait. You know what? Don't answer that question.
Yeah. That's not 100% fact. That's more of me making a joke. But
I know. I'm joking.
Okay.
As well. All right,
Nate, do
Will,
you have
take us
any
away.
final thoughts on this stuff that we're talking about before we hop on into the discussion about Japan?
Yeah, I want to challenge 54 Cent over here to get on a little bit later here to ask his question, because that is a very good question. However, as Bean's going on, and I'm pretty sure I'll jump in as well, we might answer your question as well, but it's a little bit deep. So if you don't get it answered by listening to us, just get on.
We got it starred. Oh, excuse me, my alarm's going off. We got it starred in the starred chat, so I will bring it up at the next point. But next up, gentlemen, Mr. Nate and Mr. Zenith. This question is directed at you guys, and then I got a question for Brendan after you two are done answering. But what happened this week in Japan? Either Nate or Zenith, go ahead and take it away. Zenith, I see that you're unmuted.
Wait, hold on. I have a tweet for this.
What happened in Japan?
Yes.
Yeah, Vitalik went full yellow fever. That's what happened.
Everything broke. It's all gone. Are you winning, son? Oh, God.
Bro. Womp womp.
Sorry, too edgy of a meme.
Oh, God.
There's the inverse of the meme that I saw. Do you guys remember there's the dashboard for all like traditional finance stuff? It's like the blocks that are red or green based on how much they lose or gain. There's a computer screen that's like all red blocks, and it's the kid asking like, "Are you winning, Dad?" He says, "Sorry, son, we have to sell the house."
Yep. Oh man, I fuck it. Yeah, you're talking about like the ones where it compares like this coin's stuff versus that coin's things. Yeah. So for the folks at home who don't know, if you guys have been living under a rock, the basic gist is that the Japanese shit went to zero. It didn't go to zero. That's an over exaggeration. I'm being bombastic, but Nate, what do you got? It looked like you had.
This is producer if you don't mind.
Not at zero anymore though. What was not at zero was the interest rates in Japan.
Yes.
Platform. Everybody lends through Japan.
Yeah, they were not at zero for what? Like a month, like a week or a day, like a very short period of time.
It was either a day or a couple of days, and they panicked because they basically realized that they were breaking the world economies.
So for the people that don't know, Japan has had 0% interest rates on loan since I believe 1996.
30 years. Yep.
And I could be wrong at 1990. Okay, 1994. So it's been a long fucking time. It's somewhere in that ballpark area. Japan has had a 0% loan interest rate for a very long time. And come time to pay the piper, they're like, okay, guys, we got to stop fucking around. We have to actually, like do some stuff and things. And then they tried it out and everything went to shit. They're like, just kidding. This is a really bad idea.
Well, it's a little bit bigger of a game than that. It technically has to do actually with China wanting, quite literally wanting the Fed to cut rates and stuff. And then Janet Yellen going over there being like, hey, yeah, okay, we can help you out, but we're going to need to try and break something first. And yeah, it's a whole thing. I have a huge piece on it that I tweeted out. So you know what? I'll put that in the chat, guys. Go have a look at it if you want. I can talk a little bit about it here. However, it is a long talk, and I know Bean wants to get more directly into exactly what happened in Japan that had the exact effect of what happened on. It was Sunday, guys, right? Was it Sunday or was it Monday that actually happened? Because I was out of it.
Ooh,
well, it was pre-market Sunday, but obviously the markets don't open until Monday, so that's when the bloodbath actually happened. But we saw it in real time in the crypto markets. The crypto markets often tell you the story of what's going to happen in the markets because they're 24/7. And so we were able to know what was going to happen by reading the tea leaves of crypto on Monday morning.
Yep. Zenith, you have anything to ask before I ask Brendan a question?
Yes, I have a request for Mrs. Producer if she doesn't mind. There you go. I told you, so I deliver.
That's evil.
I just lost the house.
True.
I fucking love
also
it.
in the
comments.
Some decent memes in the comments below. Stock market crash is worse than divorce. You lose half your money and your wife is still around.
Oof. Tough one.
I think this is from a crypto person, though.
Yep. Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
I swear to God, that's me.
We'll just make it right back, huh? We'll make it right back. All right. So my question for you, Mr. Brendan, and I just thought up this question out of nowhere. There's no inspiration. This totally came from me. But is this Japan's fault?
Oof, man, that's a serious question because it feels like the world is blaming Japan. It really does. You know, so as Nate and Zenith said, Japan raises interest rates for the first time in almost 30.
You are muted, good sir.
You got muted, yeah.
Sorry, the world collapses. People are jumping off bridges, and Japanese has the worst week in, I think, the history of Japan. Like the history of their markets index is like one of the worst weeks in their history. Down 26+%. What? And so, you know, Japan's the number 1 world power. So whatever happens in Japan obviously carries over to the rest of the world, right?
That is Japan.
Japan's not the number 1 economy in the world. In fact, they're number 4 now because they lowered their birth rate for so long that they don't have enough workers to actually keep their GDP up. Another conversation for another day. Why is Japan slightly increasing their interest rates such a big problem in the world? Personally, I don't think it's Japan's fault. Their economy hasn't been doing well for a while. They're trying to raise interest rates to strengthen the yen against other currencies. And guess what? That worked really well. The problem was it pretty much collapsed the world. And that's because when you have 0% interest rates for almost 30 years, what happens? The United States decides to borrow $2 trillion. Well, institutions within the United States, maybe the government as well, decides to borrow $2 trillion at 0% interest rates, assuming that it's going to be 0% forever because it's been 0% for 30 years. So then you take that money that you don't have, right? You're leveraging yourself by borrowing money, and you're using that money to invest in the stock market in the United States. You're allowing people, you're changing your money from yen to Aussie dollars. You're allowing people to then borrow from you in Australia, and you're making 5% of your money there. It's very easy to just take free money and make more money if you're a large enough institution. Well, what happens if you see an interest rate increase that you never expected? Absolute panic. Markets like consistency. And when Japan raised the interest rates, consistency went out the window. And so the world panicked. People in the United States, in Australia that have been borrowing money for many, many years for free are now like, oh no, not only do I have to pay these because the Bank of Japan doesn't give fixed loans. They're all variable interest loans. So when they raise the interest, that automatically increases how much you owe them back instantly, like that. And so the world starts to panic. And then what happens? Panic leads to stock market crash. So you're investing money in this stock market and you're like, oh, it's okay, I can pay back. Oh, no, I can't pay back the money that I borrowed because we just dropped 25% more in the market. So now I owe Japan 20% more, and the money that I borrowed from them is worth 20% less. So this causes massive havoc, massive issues within the market. So no, it's not Japan's fault. It's everyone that's leverage trading within the entire fucking world, assuming that Japan, as usual, is just going to roll over and fucking take it. I'm sorry. The Japanese are some of the nicest fucking people that I know in the entire world. And yes, I'm sorry. Not only do they roll over, but they clean the stadiums and the trash that you leave in the stadiums because they're that nice. And they're so nice that when they saw your stocks crash, they were so sad that they said, I'm sorry, sir. I will reduce my interest rates back to zero so that your stocks do better. And what do we see? A pump back in the stock market. Not Japan's fault. It's the leverage trading within the market that people just assumed was going to benefit them forever. Look, we always talk about this. Leverage trading is dangerous. It takes one thing out of the ordinary to make you from making 5% to losing 50% of your money. So you have to be really careful when you leverage trade. I don't recommend doing it, but we saw leverage trading on a grand scale of trillions of dollars around the world. Turns out the United States still owns Japan.
A little bit, yeah.
Fair, I think the U.S. owns just about
I had a lot to
everybody,
say.
though, man. I mean, the U.S. dollar, right? Everybody needs the dollar, you know? I mean, all the world economy, well, the majority of the world economies run off of whether the dollar is strong or weak, right? And then once they start pumping liquidity and just the money printer going, once they start printing money, pumping liquidity into the markets, that's when people can start having, good times. And that's when lots and lots of risk on buying happens, but yeah, you're right. This is kind of a shitty move. Poor Japan. I feel bad for them. Right here.
Look, they're trying to better their people's economy. They're trying to strengthen the yen, and they don't have an opportunity to do so because all of the world is literally leverage trading on their head. Zenith, what do you got, buddy? I know you got something to say.
Is the loss of the low Japanese interest rate something that caught people out over their skis? Yeah, absolutely. And people got burned for it, definitely. Is that the only thing that caused everything going on here? I would argue no.
Definitely not.
Mrs. Producer, if
it was
you
a catalyst. Zenith, there was a catalyst, right? There was already underlying issues.
Correct. But there's also issues that arose the same week as well. This is one of the synopses that I got from Monday, and I think it's a decent explanation of everything. So from the Prairie Banana.
Do you know who this guy is? Are you friends with him?
Prairie Banana is a good dude. He makes a lot of good content about icosahedron and everything having to do with Alex's protocol.
So I know him as well. He's actually in one of the think groups, crypto think groups that a few of us are in, and he provides some really good content. I have not followed him on Twitter until this post that you shared, Zenith. But I would recommend that everybody follows him because he actually has some really, he's been in the markets for a long time. He has some really interesting thoughts.
For sure. So this tweet came out on Monday, but I think it's a decent synopsis of everything going on. So Black Monday meltdown. The situation, the global financial markets are in turmoil, triggered by fears of World War III, inflation, and rising interest rates leading to a historic sell-off. So you got to remember that part of the reason that markets go down is because people sell. The reason that people sell is some of the bad things going on, or if they, have to repay a debt that they can no longer pay with the cash that they have on hand. That's possibly one of the reasons why you also see the compounding effect of that falling knife. When you see a big red candle, there's a good chance there's another one following it, because trying to find that support level is always one of the big questions when it comes to the markets. So key points here. Japan's Nikkei 225, staggering 18% drop in 2 days, including a 12% drop on Monday. U.S. markets, $7 trillion lost in value over the past week. Crypto crash on Sunday night, over $1 billion liquidated in 24 hours, with Bitcoin and other currencies nosediving. The Fed rate stagnation. The Federal Reserve decided not to cut rates. Remember, this was on Wednesday. They decided not to cut rates. And then immediately after that, they get a nice unemployment report that unemployment had jumped from 4.1 to 4.3%. It might not sound like a lot, but that is a 4x increase in the unemployment rate month to month, pretty much. Because remember, back in December of 2023, it started off at about 3.5, 3.6, and then every month it was going up basically half of a 0.1% or 0.05%. And now we're at 4.3%. And the jobs report came in about 117,000 jobs short of where they thought it was going to be in an already lower month to begin with. So that was not good. Back to the tweet. More stuff. What's fueling the panic? Geopolitical tensions, escalating brinkmanship between Iran, Russia, China, raising fear of global conflict. Also at the same time, Israel and Iran are flapping gums at each other, talking about how they're going to strike each other. And this is also coming off the heels of Israel taking out three strategic military leaders in 3 different countries that were all tied to people that had launched attacks on their country before. Middle East crisis, Iran's increasing influence in military maneuvers. Eastern Europe tensions, Russian aggression on the Eastern Europe front has heightened military activity in Ukraine. And then additionally, the Pacific standoff. So China has been eyeing up Taiwan for a hot minute now. And people have been predicting that the U.S. is kind of in a weakened state right now. And if there ever was a time that they were going to, make the 100-mile gap to go take Taiwan, now's not a terrible time.
Wait, Zenith, before you continue, why is the United States in a weak spot? Do they have a weak president?
Because we have a president
I think this president is very lucid. He knows everything that's happening in the world in real time.
Santa Claus.
He's as smart as I've ever seen him.
So did you know that China has actually set up a military base on Taiwan, but it's supposed to be like a neutral base with warships surrounding it. Yeah, what did our president do about that? Even though there's lots of warnings going out there.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Continue, Z.
You are good. But yeah, last point in the tweet, economic strain. Weak U.S. economy coupled with rising inflation and stagnant wages causing financial stress and market instability. It's not just one of these things, but it's kind of just the convergence of all of them happening at the same time. Additionally, another person that a lot of us probably know, Patrick Bet David. Very similar stuff at the very beginning. However, he did talk about one of the very interesting points, which is that on Monday, there was only one stock that was having a fantastic day, pretty much. I want you to guess what it was.
I already know, but for the folks at home, if you can guess the correct name of the stock in the chats, then you win one free pat on the back that you give to yourself. That's the goal here. But there is there is a very particular. Oh, you already said it's the military.
Yeah, Lockheed Martin, baby. Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed
Oh
Martin.
my God.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, either that or I think it's
What a surprise.
no, might be PPQ.
Isn't it
By
like
the way,
Lehman something or other?
Lockheed Martin was the big one.
PPA?
PPA, thank you. That's the one that I needed.
That is amusing. And unsurprising.
Yep.
What a world we live
Huh.
in.
Dang, PPA is actually not doing too great, but yeah,
No,
military
isn't it
stocks.
like Lehman and something. I
Lehman
think that was.
No, Lehman Russ is a fucking 40K meme. Sorry, I'm getting my brain crossed.
Warhammer, baby. For the Emperor.
But yeah,
I mean, that's why I made the title, my subtitle, what it is.
Blood for the Blood God.
Shout out to the World Eaters players out there and all the Corn Demons players as well.
Yep. Corn. KHORN. All right.
To those lost in battle for our freedom, may it always stay free. To the USA.
Yes. Here's to the homies that are gone but not forgotten.
I shall finish my drink for you.
Salute to the boys, but at the same time, why'd you get all sentimental when I was about to drop more Cadia memes saying that the planet broke before the guard did?
All right, so we have
stance.
a question here from Mr. Kenturian. What do you think the spark that gets the alt season going? Ethereum new all-time high, perhaps? What do you guys think is going to be the spark that gets the alt season going? And then
I'll go last. I'll go last because I think I might have a different. I think I might have a different.
You could probably put in more details than I could. But
Okay.
do you want to go first, or are you just going to answer the same thing I would answer anyways?
Excellent. And then I'm going to go ahead and go on and drop the StreamYard link in the chats as well for the folks at home. Mrs. Producer is occupado, so I'm going to send that on out. If you guys wish to be on the show, then what you need to do is click on this here StreamYard. Oh, I'm in the wrong tab. There we go. Open my producer tab. If you want to hop on over onto the show, then you need to click on this link right here, StreamYard.com/ all those letters and numbers. And then we'll see you hop on into the green room. And then as it becomes relevant, or as this conversation that we're about to have dies down, we'll go ahead and start bringing on guests as they show up. So bring your family, bring your friends, come and chit chat, come and talk, come and shoot the shit. Let's have some drinks and have some fun. But what do you guys think is going to be the thing that sparks the alt season? What's your entire story?
I think the thing that starts the Ethereum pump, which is honestly going to start the altcoin pump, but also Bitcoin will have a factor in it too. General theory states that when Bitcoin is going to be pretty much above 65,000, the altcoins are going to do pretty well, especially if you can hold that price or that level for a good chunk of time. And especially if it goes back up to all-time highs, then altcoins are going to start to perform very well. When it comes to Ethereum, I think this kind of is the big question right now, because if Ethereum takes off, I think that's almost as important as Bitcoin retesting those all-time highs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they coincide. I think that Ethereum is going to experience that once we finally shake out all the weak hands in Grayscale. So, Mrs. Producer, if you don't mind, I do have yet another screen share. So here is from theblock.com, baby. We have the Ethereum ETF flows. You'll notice that on the bottom, we've had a lot of outflows. Guess who's selling? Yeah, it's Grayscale. So once Grayscale stops selling, I imagine we're going to see something very similar to like we saw with the Bitcoin ETF back in January, which is that upon the actual launch of the ETFs, there was a lot of selling, and we saw the price drop from 48,000 down to 38,000 before it made, a massive pump all the way up to 74,000 and change. So I personally think that once the Ethereum flows start to shift more into the purchase side as opposed to the sell side, I think that's when you're going to actually see the market forces shift. So the answer to this question is kind of a boring answer. It's when the market forces get it figured out. And that's a similar answer to the Bitcoin halving stuff, which is that the Bitcoin halving fundamentally alters the supply side curve of the market. I'm waiting for the Ethereum supply side curve to also be affected by Grayscale not selling, aka less Ethereum entering the market and more Ethereum exiting the market. At that point, I think that's when you go higher on the demand curve and reach that higher price inflection or that equilibrium point, so to speak, in TradFi or macro econ terms, which is that we need the supply to be bought up so price can move to the higher levels. Right now, Ethereum is held down because largely a lot of people in Grayscale specifically have been selling a lot of Ethereum, aka flooding the market, pushing the price down to a lower point. Bitcoin is kind of the same way. We saw the halving come. This is a different kind of event, but similar idea with the supply and demand curves, which is that the Bitcoin halving fundamentally alters the supply curve. Not immediately, but it alters the distribution of Bitcoin. Eventually, that change in the supply curve is going to catch up with the market, and the market is no longer going to be able to add Bitcoin to the market at the same pace it's being bought up, at which point we'll see the demand side really start to take over and price is going to go up. So there you go. How's that for a non-answer? Give you a macro econ lesson.
You've confused me, but it works.
Here, I'll go ahead and make it a little bit simpler, right? So, because Zenith, is big brain, galaxy brain over here. Here's the deal, right? As of right now, we do not have a money printer on. And because there's no money printer on, the only liquidity that we currently have in the economies of the world is just kind of what's already flowing through, right? Now, this is good to try and drop, like raising rates and everything, try and drop the inflation and all that. However, there's going to come up that's also really difficult to growing economies. Okay. So what they need to do first is they need to turn on the money printer, which gives more liquidity, start injecting that into the economies of the world. And then from there, you're able to grow. And with all this extra money, instead of being in things like gold, which is, just going to store its value, you're now able to go into risk on assets, aka crypto, right? Lower lower cap stocks and all things like that, right? And so from there, that's where things are going to start flowing. Immediately, this money that is currently in bonds and stuff, they're going to flow into the ETFs of like Bitcoin and then Ethereum. Then, of course, they're going to have to buy more Ethereum to supplement the flows, right? And then from there, it's going to start like a little what would you call that? The tide, right? All the way down. Just more money being printed. Simple as that.
Do you have Mr. Brendan, do you have an idea of what would cause the market to start doing silly things? Or rather, what would cause the altcoin?
I have a crystal ball.
Okay.
Obviously,
the Oracle God is over here. Let's go.
There's only one God. That's our Lord and Savior. Hey, Zenith. The Fed already started this. The Fed already announced they're going to start printing some money, right?
Are you talking about like actually printing money or printing money by purchasing up assets from the market, aka injecting cash that way?
Correct. Purchasing assets
Okay.
from the market. They
Remember,
decided
the Fed has two options. They can
Dude!
mess with interest rates or they can mess with their balance sheet. And hint, it's gonna be both.
Well, so there was a lot of stuff on Twitter this week talking about the Fed on Wednesday was going to have an emergency meeting, and I heard some crypto pundits saying they were going to drop rates by 100 basis points. Zenith, was there a emergency meeting today? Did you hear about that? Anything?
No.
No, you didn't, did you? I was responding to everybody on Twitter saying, I hear people saying this, but I have seen zero actual information coming from the government. So where is this information coming from?
Speculation, baby. Pure speculation.
But they were talking about it like it was already happened. And this is a problem with the market. People were literally saying an emergency Fed meeting is being called. They're saying it already happened. It's being called. It's going to happen by Wednesday. Well, it's Wednesday. Pretty sure it's post-market. We have not seen the Fed have an emergency meeting. However, the Fed did announce that they're going to start buying back some assets so that they can reduce their balance sheet, or in this case, maybe increase their balance sheet, whichever way you want to look at it. But they're going to spend money. And that is one way that they can inject money into the market. And is this a big injection into the market? Not compared to reducing interest rates, but it is important because it allows money to be pumped into the market. And so instead of reducing interest rates on a scale of an emergency basis, by the way, the last two times the Fed had an emergency rate cut, COVID crash 2020 and 9/11. Think about how major those events were for them to have an emergency rate cut. So that's why I didn't expect an emergency rate cut to happen this week. Now I'm digressing a little bit from the question, but this is important because we need money to be pumped into the economy from the government for things to start ramping up a little bit more. Now, we have two wars. Giving money to Ukraine actually helps the United States economy because they give money to Ukraine and Ukraine actually has to buy weapons from who? Oh, the United States. So essentially the United States is just buying weapons from themselves and giving them to Ukraine. So it actually helps the United States markets a little bit. Now, look, I'm oversimplifying this a little bit, of course. But the military industrial complex does help the United States economy. It didn't help enough in an election year. Japan, if they continue to keep rates high, or God forbid, raise them again, that is one of the biggest black swan events we would have seen in our lifetime for the markets. Now, Ethereum, I'm sorry, it's not about Ethereum. Ethereum pumping? Nope, doesn't matter. It right now only matters about Bitcoin. And you guys said that a little bit, and I didn't expect you to. Bitcoin right now is still the number one topic in the global market for crypto. And so Bitcoin is going to have to hit new all-time highs and even higher all-time highs for Ethereum to really start to pop off. Now, that doesn't mean Ethereum won't start to have some increase when the ETFs go positive. As Zenith's chart showed, it's already starting to get to that point where we're going to starting to see positive inflows into the Ethereum ETF. That's going to help. Sure, it's going to help a little bit. Maybe it'll help the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. But until Bitcoin starts to bump up to 80,000, 85,000, 100,000, 150,000 next year, if that happens, right? You never know. People aren't going to rotate their money out of Bitcoin into other coins because they expect Bitcoin to go much higher. And so Bitcoin's still the king right now. Until Bitcoin really starts to make the next major move, I'm starting to think that Ethereum isn't going to start to catch up because, again, Ethereum's still an altcoin. It's still the first number one altcoin. It's getting to that point where it's hard to even call it an altcoin, but it is. So when Bitcoin starts to flow into Ethereum, Ethereum is going to really rage. And when Ethereum starts to rage, then those people are going to roll into other altcoins. Maybe even L1s that are forked off of Pulse Chain, like off of Ethereum, like Pulse Chain. Sorry, Freudian slip. But honestly, I think Bitcoin right now, because of how much momentum it has in the market, in the international, like just media, right? Institutions, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, all of these things are giving Bitcoin a unique cycle. Previously, we probably would have had Ethereum already pump up closer to a Bitcoin ratio that we've seen previously. But Bitcoin just has its own life right now, uniquely from the outside of that, from the rest of the crypto market. So I think it actually takes Bitcoin to move up to see a real move in Ethereum. We'll see some increase in Ethereum, but until Bitcoin moves up to the next level, I don't think we're going to see a big move in Ethereum. I hope I'm wrong, but that's my take.
I think your take makes sense. Mrs. Producer, if you don't mind, I do have one more statistic thing to show.
One more.
So coming from Blockworks, we have some ETF trackers. Brendan, to your point, I think you're very correct when you say that Bitcoin definitely still dominates the market. And I think you can see that, especially when it comes to things like the Ethereum ETF versus the Bitcoin ETF, just the pure amount of money going in and out of these things. So on the Ethereum side of the house, we have really only two funds that are doing the vast majority of the trading. That is BlackRock and Grayscale, each at about $120 million in 24-hour volume, and then market cap of about 500 million and about 6.3 billion. And then we just switch over to the Bitcoin tracker, and wow, would you look at that? On BlackRock alone, on the Bitcoin side of the house, they have $750 million worth of volume on one of them alone. And then additionally, as you go down the list, it's still massive stuff like 200 million, 266 million, 273 million, 174 million. And this is 24-hour volume. You are entirely correct when you say that the Bitcoin market absolutely dwarfs the Ethereum market on the ETF side of the house.
Oh,
and Ethereum will pick up steam. Look, Ethereum will pick up steam once the media starts to pick it up a little bit. Look, Ethereum doesn't have a Michael Saylor, okay? It has a Vitalik Buterin who has yellow fever up the wazoo the last month. Can this dude get back back into the lab and start working on some programming?
Back
Dude,
to the computers.
Sorry, stop with your little Asian women wearing furry ears.
Oh my God.
Is that helping Ethereum? No, it's certainly not helping Ethereum right now. He's actually part of the problem.
Perhaps. I don't know if Vitalik is necessarily part of the problem. I would say he might not be part of the solution, but it's like I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. I think that the thing that gets this alt season pumping, and this is a super duper nuanced answer that takes a lot into consideration. But I think that the thing that really gets the altcoins pumping is if people start buying them more than they start selling them. So like as long as we have more people selling these altcoins than we do have people buying them, then the price is going to go down. And once we start getting more people buying them, then hey, price goes up. I think the rest of it is all just fucking campfire stories. And while your guys' campfire stories may be excellent and they're really well thought out and they might convince the people and do all sorts of things, I'm going to say that like there's a whole bunch of shit that could just totally fucking throw a curveball at us and surprise us. Like let's say instead of Japan going crazy bankrupt, or not bankrupt, but changing all their programs and policies, they instead decide like, hey guys, we've got a whole bunch of gold and we're turning it all into Bitcoin or something. But anyways, I'm going to open this this question up actually for our guest, which I'm about to introduce onto. Oh dang, he has disappeared. Mr. Pulse Ray Vision, when you get a moment, can you come back to your computer and then when you're ready to hop on, give me a thumbs up.
We didn't even get to Pulse Chain stuff yet, did we?
Oh,
no,
we didn't. Oh, Oh fuck! What Pulse Chain stuff do we need to? All right, we could talk about this with Pulse Ray whenever he hops on. Or shoot, I do not see him. Zenith, I see that you are sharing screen. You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, if you don't mind, while we're waiting.
Zenith is screens.
All right.
I was prepared for today.
I visualize Zenith like that meme of Pokemon Go with the guy with like 70 different phones playing Pokemon Go. I'm pretty sure Zenith has at least 13 different monitors with different memes and different X posts.
I know he's got at least 2 because he's told us he's got his webcam in between his 2. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, he's got 3. There's a third one.
Yeah. We got a bit of a setup going on. That I even have
How hot is that room, bro?
Four.
It's quite hot, but there's AC unit there, tower down here, so.
Oh
Actually,
man, you got the AC unit right there, bro. That's nice. Mine's way over there.
Yeah, my face is cold, but my legs are hot.
Alrighty.
I don't know.
So-
What I'm looking at, your face looks pretty hot to me.
I was having issues with my webcam, so I swapped to a backup webcam, and now I think I'm just miscolored instead of dropping frames now. So
No, this is perfect. I thought you were doing a thing. I'm not even gonna lie. You see this down here? I thought you were doing a thing, literally.
Oh no, I'm not trying to do that meme. Believe me, no.
So
It's all fun when you say blood for the blood god until you realize that it's actually your blood.
Yeah. Oh, that's too fun.
True. Okay, so what do we have
chart
pulled
you
up
got
here?
This chart.
Well,
this
this is
chart
actually
you
a
got here, Mr.
tweet.
Zenith. Well, so the chart that is on the tweet, I noticed that they do not have any numbers on the right, so it kind of like hides the scale. It hides the fact whether it's logarithmic or, linear. They don't have. They're showing you the angle. So this story tells a picture. For the folks at home who don't know how to hypnotize people, I'm going to give you guys a quick little lesson in storytelling. When you want to give people information, you give them information. When you want to withhold information from people, you withhold the information. This chart not having a scale on the right-hand side is a little bit fishy deceptive. This guy is shooting for shock and awe. If I had to guess what Lucky Luke is trying to do here, he's trying to tell a story of like, oh my God, this is some crazy shit. When like realistically, we were at those prices. Let's see, this is a 4-hour chart. So that's like what, a day ago? So with the same prices that we were at like a day ago or something. I'm currently pulling up the PulseX chart on Deck Screener, but Zenith, would you go ahead and talk to the folks at home about this little chart, please?
I understand your sentiment about holding off on the scale and the numbers, but in this case, Lucky Luke is actually not incorrect. So I saw this tweet earlier, which prompted me to go check out all of our favorite website, gopulse.com. He's like, okay, I'm gone for like 3 hours. When I come back to this, what happened this time? PulseX. All right, let's go over to Go Pulse.
I've got context.
24-hour period. Incentive token dropped 17%. Pulse X dropped 14%, and Pulse Chain dropped 10%. Now, this is the sort of number I would expect to see on Monday, but if we pull up the chart, on Monday, we didn't really see that a whole lot. So, yeah, instead, we get massive candle today. There was a good wick, but no, the massive candle was today. And the same kind of goes for all the other coins on here as well. Large red candle. Incentive token, where you at? Large red candle.
Dead.
But yeah, maybe a bit. It's nothing. It's shocking, I'll say that much. But upon further investigation, I don't think it's cataclysmic by any stretch of the imagination. So looking over on Deck Screener, I like the tools that they have available here, so I'm going to use them for this. In a 24-hour period, we have had $1.3 million in buy volume and $1.8 million in sell volume, aka $500,000 towards the sell direction. And similar things are shown over on the Pulse X chart as well. So this is Pulse X on Deck Screener, 1.2 million in buys, 1.7 in sells. So again, a lot of volume on the sell side, a lot of individual buys, but what it's telling you is that there are larger people selling and there are smaller people buying, because there's more buyers, more buys, but less volume, less sells, less sellers, more sell volume. So yep. That is what we're seeing over here. And then as far as where everything kind of is right now, on incentive token, we are approaching the bottom of this trading range, which is the wick down to about $1.72. And we're sitting right here over on this left side, support level from back in this time at about $1.90 and change. So nothing too crazy. This is well within a margin of error, so to speak. And Pulse Chain, similar-ish, except we are now approaching the lows that we had back during the great old time of the SEC. So if you remember back in 2023 in August, and you thought to yourself, man, I wish I could have bought those lows. Well, guess what? If you like Pulse Chain, you have a chance to purchase some of those lows right now.
There we go.
It's good news and bad news. Again, I will say I do personally think, this is Uncle Z talking here, opinion. I do personally think that the pulse chain ecosystem is still currently held down largely due to a suppression, thanks to good old Gary Gensler in the SEC and the looming case going on there. So I think that once that clears up, you might see something similar which happened to Ripple today, because Ripple actually finally finished up their civil suit with the SEC, and their price took off by about 40%.
So Z,
About damn time.
40% in Ripple would be like 400% in Pulse Chain, in my opinion. Like,
Correct, because the running joke is that XRP is a stable coin, and I do believe that. Yeah, I do believe the chart reflects it as such, which is that I know I say that there's a 40% increase in XRP after this, but at the same time, that 40% increase is still well within the trading range of XRP.
wait, but didn't you hear that the XRP Foundation is going to sell another like a few more hundreds of millions, and they announced it before the SEC case was over?
All
Did
right,
they
guys,
know
real
that was
quick.
coming and knew that was going to pump up? Look,
I'm gonna butt into
Most-
this conversation super quickly and introduce
Please
our
do.
guest who has been patiently waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome Mr. Pulse Ray Vision of agproject.io.
Ooh, ooh.
Mr. Pulse Ray Vision,
Hey, Max.
welcome.
Good to see
he
you,
is
brother.
he is geared
Hey,
up
kids.
for the moon landing, baby, and next year.
Oh my god, I love it.
Hey,
I'm gonna dress
Pulse
up
Ray,
for
real
my
quick.
national
Were
here.
you looking at my chart? Because it seems like you're all dressed up, ready for that mooning there.
Yeah, I'm already forget the moon. I'm headed to Saturn. You
Hell
know,
yeah, bro.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking
Love
about.
to hear it. Hey, real quick, Pulse Ray, for the folks at home who have never seen you before, which I find hard to believe because you're all over the Pulse chain, man. For those who have never seen you before, who are you, real quick, and what do you do, and what's some stuff that you're working on, man? And then what's new and exciting with you, bro?
yeah, Pulse Ray Vision. I used to be Hex Ray Vision a long time ago. Thanks to Hex, I was able to retire. So I kind of started up a YouTube channel and tried to pay that information forward a lot, like you guys are doing. You know, a lot of really a really good knowledge base that you guys are sharing with Alpha, helping these people out. And over the last 3 years, I tried to figure out how I could keep all that economic energy inside of crypto instead of watching it flood in and flood out like we do with the cycles. And so I just try to think of a way that I could create a coin or some project on top of Hex or Pulse Chain that would really, you know, increase the economic energy and hold there. And over 3 years, we came up with our project, which is agproject.io. And it's going to be launching on Pulse Chain, hopefully in mid or late September on mainnet.
Hell yeah, bro. And so it's a way to store value and things of that nature. What are there any other salient details of the project?
Yeah, I've got a whole slideshow of all of the way our intricate stuff folds together. But we basically took the 7 favorite tokenomics that we had, and then we invented 3 new tokenomics that we haven't seen anywhere else, and we just jammed them together with the help of our devs until we think it's going to work. We've already got 5 of our smart contracts audited, and we have that report in our Telegram. But we got about 7 more smart contracts under audit right now that we're waiting to hear back with for the mainnet launch.
Awesome. Glad
Yeah,
to
a
hear.
lot of smart contracts.
I
But
like it.
if you guys haven't heard about the project, there's 3 parts to it. There's a story and art. As you can see, this is some AI art behind me from the story. In the first chapter, the entire ship explodes and our hero kills basically everyone on his ship, unfortunately, by mistake. And then you've got the art that goes with this. We're going to use the art or these JPEGs for the NFTs. And then we have our own token, which is called the Dark Matter token. And we have fuel cell NFTs, which have a lot of function to those NFTs that we haven't seen people really put together in one place at the same time.
Awesome. Excellent. And Mrs. Producer, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and bringing up our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, we have what looks like a mild-mannered librarian, Mr. Fast Abdul, hopping in. Looking like he's gonna rent us some books or something. What's up, Mr. Fast Abdul? For the folks at home who have never seen you before, which again I find hard to believe because you're all over the fucking place. Who are you, real quick? And what's new and exciting with you, bro?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, boys. I'm like a mild mannered crypto guy. I'm into like DeFi stuff, no meme coins, anything like that. Just like the straight DeFi, mostly stable coins, things like that. So we can talk about it more later. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Okay.
What's your favorite stable coin, Fast Abdul?
Probably
XRP.
I think right now I like PXDC, the liquidity fork that Power City does. That's based on PulseX for collateral, right? So it's over collateralized, instant liquidation. Like there's almost no way, unless PulseX went to zero, that the stablecoin could fail. And even then, it would take a while. It's a really good system that Liquidity uses, and the PulseX one is based on over collateralized liquidity with a coin that's way undervalued. So I feel feel pretty solid about that one. And they only have a $500 minimum, whereas Liquid Loans, for example, is a $2,000 minimum. So you can put in as little as $500 worth of PulseX to take out a loan. You probably would put in more than that to keep your collateral ratio at a reasonable level, but it's still like you don't need to be like a big player to be able to leverage your PulseX and then do things with those stable coins.
Excellent.
I think the more leverage you have, the better. Nothing explains that better than what happened on Monday.
Okay. I thought you were being serious there for a second. Nate. Good God, man. Hey, so one more thing, gentlemen, one point of order before we can continue and carry on with the show. Our chat shoutouts have been racking up, so we're going to go ahead and do a real quick version of the chat shoutouts. And if the guys at home, if any of y'all have any questions for anyone on the panel, Pulse Ray Vision, Fast Abdul, Nate, Bean, Zenith, myself, anything like that, feel free to go ahead and ask them. Mrs. Producer, let's go ahead and roll right on into chat shoutouts. We've had Mr. Gains by Casey being patient for the last hour and 10 minutes for us to shout him out. What's up, homie? What's up, Mr. Gains by Casey? You literally rolled in like...
We gotta get Casey back on here on one of these upcoming Whiskey Wednesdays.
Oh yeah. He's a busy man. He's got a lot of shit going on. But
he's slinging pizza so we can buy crypto. That man's a legend.
Yep. If any of you guys are ever up in the central northern New York area, you should swing on over by... Oh shoot. Damn it. The name of the gym is escaping me. Beyond Driven Fitness. Y'all should swing on over by Beyond Driven Fitness. Mr. Casey, actually, he let us know during one of our book club streams when we were talking about Alex Hormozy. Him and his buddies started the gym that he runs using the Alex Hormozy gym lunch system. So that was pretty fucking cool. Love to hear it. Love to see you, buddy. Glad that you're doing well. Up next in our chat shoutouts, we've got Mr. Agent J of the DGen Roundtable saying, "Hey gang, good to see you're all still here. One hell of a week for crypto." You are absolutely right. It has been a hell of a week, and it's been a fun week. And I love these action weeks. Whenever the prices shoot way up high or whenever they shoot way down low, these are always like excellent and fun times for me. Great to see. Next up, we got Mr. Bradley Langan saying, Solana. Oh, excuse me, Dr. H, the cryptopractor. Fuck yeah, Dr. H. Yo, I was over chilling in the chats on his stream not too long ago. Zenith and I were speaking with him on the last effing hangout. Dr. H is a cryptocurrency and chiropractor specialist. He's a super cool cat. Hey, you effing DGens, what's good in your world? Spank that like, y'all. Dr. H. He's doing some really cool streams on the richest man in Babylon. Y'all should go check him out over on his show. Just Google Dr. H, the cryptopractor. Or crypto chiropractor. You'll find his shit. Super easy. Next up, we got Bradley Langan. This time I got it actually correct. Solana definitely isn't a golden child of institutional money. Definitely. You're fucking A right, Mr. Bradley Langan. As I was traveling down I-35 here in Texas, I saw a fucking Solana ranch just like chilling off the side of the interstate. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Totally irrelevant to the stuff, but yeah. Then we have Mr. Just Live saying, "Will, is that a flicking mace? Are you headed to Belfast or London?" No, sir, this is not a flicking mace. This is an On It 7-pound workout mace, and as I had said earlier in the comments, I was thinking of the folks over at Wicklow and there's a whole bunch of craziness going on over in Ireland. I would not want to be there without this bad mamba jamba. Just kidding. I'd probably get arrested because over there in the UK, they are not too friendly on people being able to stop bad things from happening. So good to see that you're here, Just Live. Excellent to have you. Next up, we got Mr. Funkmaster Hex. Funkmaster Hex. Funkmaster Hex saying, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good sir, I would raise a drink to you. I just dumped my drink out because it tasted disgusting. So I will say, Mr. Funkmaster Hex, cheers to you, good sir. Here's for a little bit of tequila and stuff. And then we got Yabs. At least Vitalik waited until it went to 5K, unlike Richard Hart. I'm not sure what he means by this with the comment. I'm glad that Richard
this
Hart
is with us talking about Vitalik. Do something, please.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, Vitalik makes the top when he sells the top, and so you know, I will not say either or about either Vitalik or Richard because they both have way smarter plans and way better projects and cooler things than I do. But yeah, good for them. Next up, we got Crypto Khalil saying, yeah, if Ripple settled, then we're either settling or winning, and Richard is not settling. That is that's a good guesstimation. I would guess the same thing. Richard does not seem like a guy who is interested in second place. If I
here's what I want to say. You ready for this one, Will?
Nate first, and then Brendan.
So here's what I say. I say he does not settle. He gets the SEC to pay us a couple $1 million, and then he uses that to buy balls.
What do you got, Brendan? Bless you, by the way. Good sneeze.
Thank you. I was going to say Ripple didn't settle. They actually won the lawsuit. The only reason that they had to pay $120 million is because they did ask VCs to give money to their project. And so that essentially like VC conversation and getting money from venture capitalists is security-like, right? Because the VCs are expecting profit from the work of others. So Ripple itself is not a security. They didn't settle. They just had to pay because they did do some venture capitalist shit. And look, they are a little bit more traditional and by the way, if Ripple isn't a security, almost nothing in the market is a security because Ripple is pretty damn centralized, in my opinion, which is why they continue to dump in your head, which is why a few days ago they said they were going to sell a bunch of money, hundreds of millions, before it came out, before you knew that their court case was over. But they already knew it was going to be over. So they use their insider information to dump on your heads, which is why their price doesn't go up that much.
Yep. I don't know a whole lot about XRP, but I do know a little bit about Ripple, and that's that they're not exactly they don't have the interest of the community in mind over their own interests. So that is all that I will say about them. And then finally for chat shoutouts, we got a question here from Mr. Kenturian 54X. Were any of you degens in FTX? That was before my time. I will say that I had a couple $100 in FTX, and I happened to be lucky enough to bridge out like a week before they went under. So I pulled the plug on that one right on fucking time. And then that's going to be what we're going to start our little conversation with, and we'll go round robin around the panel here. I want to get your guys' thoughts, especially you, Pulse Ray and Fast Abdul, because I know you guys have been in this space a lot longer than I have. Or your guys' thoughts on FTX, because I only dabbled in them for a minute. Like I was a Bitcoin maximalist before that one stream where Richard Hart appeared on Fresh and Fit, and then I just switched all my cryptocurrency into Hex and staked it all out. What, Mr. Fast Abdul, what were your thoughts on FTX before they went under?
Honestly, I think my only real dealings with FTX was to access, I think it was Ethereum Fair, or it could have been Ethereum Proof of Work when that came out before the Pulse chain. And I was in and out like it was an outhouse. And but now I think I left like $5 on there. So like every month they send me a new letter, the lawyers do, wanting me to fill out some form to try to get back my $5. So, but I don't feel like doxing myself for $5. So I'm not going to do it. But I have a buddy who got totally rugged, and I remember I was sitting beside him on the day, and when it went down, right, and he was trying to like just get his stuff off there as quick as he could, and he got about I don't know, maybe 40% off, and then it just like the screen just went blue, right?
Oh man, that's surreal.
And he had a bunch of FTX tokens, and those were just like, and he couldn't do anything with those at all, right? But he managed to like liquidate some of his other things to be able to bridge off like stables and stuff for like we're talking like tens of thousands of dollars. And yeah, it was a pretty exciting day. And so I think he's hoping to get some money back from that. You know, I think they're maybe some people are going to get paid back. So I doubt it's 100%.
Fucking A,
That's
man.
what I know.
Bolster, what about you? Did you have any dealings with FTX before their collapse? Any positive words or negative words to say about the actual exchange or the happenings before it all went to shit?
No, I just remember watching those weird ass videos with SBF eating cucumbers and shit, talking about how cool this weird like autistic billionaire was and what a good person he was. When anybody goes out of their way to tell you how good they are, they're probably killing children. Like there's just like they're in a group of pretty bad dudes if they come out and tell you how great they are. Ha ha ha! Blood everywhere.
Yeah, blood everywhere.
Yeah,
that is a different reference, but oddly also applicable.
I've got some advice for the folks at home. If you guys ever turn into a streamer or if you ever turn into a person who does things on the internet, there's two very important fucking rules that you should follow. And well, I guess 2.5, right? Because one's a sub rule of another rule. But like rule one is you never hold up a piece of white paper on the internet because then people will Photoshop whatever the fuck they want on there. Rule number 2 is you never eat like while you're being filmed because that shit doesn't look good. And if you are going to eat, you definitely don't eat things that have like phallic imagery or something like that, unless you're like just trying to destroy your brand or whatever. But you know, SBF, like Pulsar was saying, like that's a terrible decision, terrible plan. So just from like a branding perspective, not a very good move. And I agree with you, Pulsar. I didn't know anything about FTX. I just heard that it was an exchange that I could put some money on that I could use to like get money from like TradFi into like my own. Like I had a pretty decent idea of like what hot wallets were at the time. And so I was using exchanges as like an onboarding mechanism. And so I threw some like a couple $100 in there to wait for like good buy opportunity. And then I was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm consolidating all my money. I'm sick of having, 7 different exchanges with several $100s on each of them. And, I got lucky that I made that decision when I did. Cause I mean, it's just a couple $100 or whatever, but like, even still, that was a strange few days. Zenith, Nate, Brendan, what were your guys's interactions with the old FTX?
I've never had any interactions, so don't really know
nice.
a whole lot on that. I just followed it from the post-mortem perspective, which is I observed the downfall and then tried to understand why it went so poorly.
Gotcha.
Well, I didn't invest in FTX, but I invested in Voyager. I didn't invest, but I used Voyager at the time. Voyager gave the highest percentage if you left your money on centralized exchange. And the biggest issue with Voyager wasn't their platform, their ease of use. It was that they actually loaned all of their money to FTX. All of it. Not like 10%, not 20%. No. I'm going to loan all my money to FTX. That's a problem. And the other issue with Voyager is that they were still like building out. So they didn't have an off-ramp for every coin. So a lot of the major coins, you could transfer your coins from Voyager to another wallet. And I knew they were going under, or had a very good sneaking suspicion they were going under. So I transferred all of my coins off there that I could. The one mistake that I wish I had done is the coins that didn't have off-ramps. I wish that I sold them, bought something else, and then sent those coins elsewhere. So I did lose some money in Voyager because of FTX. And Voyager just sent me a check on the 31st of July, which I'm not going to receive because those idiots sent it to my old address.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, no, we sent you an email saying update your address. Nope. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So I'm not going to get that check for a couple months. Guess what would be nice right now? A DCA check. Be really nice right now. But look, I'm not sweating it. It is what it is. I'll get a few more $1,000 back, but essentially I've always just considered that money lost and an expensive lesson in crypto.
Yeah. Oh man, we get so many expensive lessons. Nate, did you ever have to do anything with FTX? Did you fucks with them at all when it was centralized exchanges time back in the day?
Okay, so you know what kind of degen I am, right?
Yeah, you're a bit of a degen, bro.
I want you to take one guess. As soon as everything crashed, I want you to take one guess at what I did.
I bet you bought FTX the moment that it crashed, didn't you?
When you go to the chart and you see that huge red line all the way down,
yeah,
I bought there. all the way there. I'm
bottom?
technically in the green on FTT right now.
Holy shit, dude. That's interesting. Good stuff.
I had this dark horse theory where I was like, at first I was like, oh, this thing is cheap as all hell. Cool. Right. That was the first thing I did. And then I started thinking, wait a minute. They're going to try, because it was so connected to powerful people, will say, that they're probably going to try and like either save it or like transform it into something else. So I was like, I'm going to hold on to this for a little while. And then all of a sudden they got a new CEO or whatever, and he's like trying to rebuild FTX. And I was like, oh, this almost looks like it could be like a dark horse, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been holding the whole time.
Okay. So it's like a little fun degenerate scratcher play or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm very irresponsible.
Very amusing. Gentlemen, we have some more questions from some folks in the chats. Also, shout out to Mr. Russman. Cheers, Russ. It's been a while since we've seen you, amigo. Good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you on the show as well. And then Mr. Kenturian54X. This is to bring us back to the conversation on XRP. He asks, why does everyone hate XRP? Is it just because they dump the coins on their users? Does anyone want to take a shot at this? We kind of answered it a little bit over there in the comments before, but I've got some thoughts on this if you guys don't have anything.
Well, okay, so for me, I'm just
reason. Look, Ethereum Foundation dumps coins on each other's heads as well. But what is XRP doing? Look, yes, institutions love XRP. It's not the only reason that I don't like it, but it hasn't done it much. And sure, you say, oh, okay, but you're invested in Pulse Chain. Yeah, I'm invested in Pulse Chain because it's an L1. It's its first cycle. It's been suppressed because of a bad SEC complaint against the founder. Now, granted, XRP also a falls against it, but it was much later in its cycle. It already popped off a ton. This hasn't popped off at all. And so the difference between Pulse Chain and XRP is Pulse Chain didn't pop off before the SEC went after Richard Hart, where XRP had already had multiple millionaires. In fact, I've met multiple people that are millionaires because of XRP before any of the SEC stuff happened. But now, yes, XRP, Ripple Foundation, they're dumping money on your head. I don't really like buying coins where people are dumping on my head. Again, ETH Foundation does that a little bit, but it's such it transcends the ETH Foundation because of what Ethereum is and what can be built upon it. And that's my thoughts. Quick thoughts.
My thoughts are mostly because it's funny. Like I don't hate XRP. I think that they're funny. Like there's a lot of people that are very, very convinced that it's like the next coolest thing, and it's been around for a very long time. Like this is a coin that has existed for a long, long time, and so it's got a lot of very strange like diehard fans. It reminds me of like what Hexicans would be if like everything went to shit and like the Richard Hart ecosystem like went terrible. And it's got a relatively large market cap. It's been around for a long time, and it's just I don't know. It's got a whole bunch of people that don't think about things and are kind of just like, oh yeah, this is the next thing. It's gonna work, I promise. And it just like I see that I see this that, like they have a lot of cult mentality things, and so like I wouldn't say they're my enemies, and I wouldn't say that I hate them. I would say that they're just a funny group of chuckle fucks that just kind of like is like, oh, okay, guys, whatever the campfire stories you got to tell yourself to go sleep at night. Fast Abdul, I see you have unmuted yourself. Do you have thoughts, brother? You're not muted on StreamYard, but I cannot hear you. Is your phone muted, perhaps, or your device, or maybe we've lost your thing? Nothing.
His mic hates him.
Oh no, we have lost audio. It's all good.
Yeah, check that settings.
Okay, yeah, do your thing. Zenith, do you have thoughts on XRP, bro? Why everyone hates them?
I don't
hate, or why everyone makes fun of them?
I don't think people like genuinely hate XRP, but I do think that they have become the butt end of a lot of jokes, and a large part of the reason I see that is I think people are just more of laughing at the price action of it, because based on the data that I'm looking at here, I don't see XRP ever going below 10 cents, and I don't see XRP ever going above $2.
Yep.
And that goes back to like 2019 data. So I see that, and I mean, I think part of the fact is also XRP has been around for a long, long time. If I'm not mistaken, XRP has been around for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but they've been around for a while, and then people are, again, less than thrilled about the price action. And I think part of that is due to the fact that my analysis of it is it seems like at one point they were with it, and then they kind of just lost pace with the competition. And then since then, they've always just been playing catch up and just never quite caught back up. And then obviously the whole SEC lawsuit thing really slowed them down for a long time. And now that they've cleared that hurdle, theoretically they could, I don't know, get going again. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of people are holding their breath on that.
That's good. I like that analysis. And that yeah, I do believe that they are 10 years old. I've heard that several places. I'm not going to fact check it. I'm just going to assume that it's true. Mr. Fast Abdul, can I get a sound check and see if we got it working?
Sound check.
Yeah, you're good. What were your thoughts, bro?
Right on. I think we may have some more in common with XRP than you're letting on, Will. I think the Hex marketplace is also fairly down. We just don't have as much time in the market as they do. But clearly it's very different ecosystems and different products. But as far as like cults and true believers go, like I think we're kind of on the same page on that kind of stuff. We have some cults, we have some true believers. We have some people who will believe no matter what, which is an asset. And we also have a lot of smart people who are going to do the analytics, right? But I'm sure they have their smart people too. So I think, they might be a great audience for us to reach out to come see what we have going on, because it's not that far in some ways from what they have going on.
Well said.
Gotcha. Mr. Pulsar, do you have thoughts on the XRP community and why they're always the butt of all the jokes in the crypto space, other than the Zen people?
I've been around this game way too long to have any respect for XRP or Ripple or the 6 other bullshit freaking corporations and LLC that they're running game on. And then of course, I mean, a lot of people don't even know about XLM, Stellar Luma, right? Like that dude bounced and then he got a check. Like he basically gets this allocation of XRP, and he used to dump every time he got his XRP, he'd dump it and buy Stellar Luna, which is, basically the same stuff. But I remember when they're like, we're partnering with McDonald's, we're partnering with Google, we're partnering with Bank of America. And guess what? They were not partnering with anybody. Or if they were, it was like a 10-year plan, and they failed to mention that to their investors. So I don't know. I like their community. Their community is passionate and much more intelligent than most crypto communities out there. But I don't know. I kind of hope to see XRP fail miserably. Unless you guys are in it, and I hope you guys make a lot of money.
Fail miserably. Here's the thing about XRP, right? XRP is old, right? It's like, okay, here's the thing. Now, they were the, I believe it was either the first or second cycle product market fit at the time, which was simply payment solutions. What was Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first one, obviously. What was Bitcoin? Bitcoin was peer-to-peer transactions. Yay, I can send money to somebody else. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of other companies and people were building other cryptos saying, hey, we can do it too, only we can do it better, right? That was the entire idea. XRP, I'll admit, XRP did it right, or at least as right as you could get at the time, right? And it was pretty good. And it was so right and such a product market fit, and they did such good advertising that they have an entire army. It's the XRP army, right? Where are they now? Yeah, the issue is that they still have a little bit of a cult. You know, I'll say this is something that would worry me about the pulse chain community, right? Because it's kind of like the same sort of cult. And as you were saying, Abdul, you know, there's quite a bit of connections here between XRP and, like, say, pulse chain. But the thing is that here we don't number one, we don't have leaders just dumping on our heads, right? If anybody wants to make an argument, if anyone wants to make an argument about getting dumped on the heads, that's with each other. We're literally doing it to each other. Okay. That's going to be over with there. Right. And by the way, leader, I mean Richard Hart. That's basically it. Whereas in XRP, they were, well, a bunch of different people. So, but then again, you also have a ton of people continually building in a larger space here on Pulse Chain. So there's also that, right? And there's actual utility involved as well. So, like, I don't know, XRP to me, I feel like they are just completely gone. You know, they should not really be existing anymore. I think that they're just kind of past their time. They're one of the early adopters of, like, payment solutions. It was a product market fit at the time, but I don't think they have a use anymore. And what if they were really smart, what they would do is they would try and come out with something else. They would try and, like, group themselves with something else. I guess you could go ahead and say it's kind of like the Hex then turning into Pulse Chain, and now it's an entire city, right?
Look,
it's
like Nate, I don't think. Look, I'm not an XRP fan at this point. But does it mean that they can never do anything? They do have a lot of support from, you know, banks and institutions and things to that extent. So, look, maybe they can get to where you want. I just don't see the X's. But, again, not as much risk, because where's the downside if you're just a stable coin?
Yeah. Yeah, and see, that's the issue. That they've had enough time to be able to have enough people get in and get out where everything's stabilized now. And even though they shouldn't be a stable coin, they basically are at this point. However, they did a really good job as soon as they were announced that they were going to win their SEC case. Which, by the way, how's their chart doing now that they've officially won?
40% increase, I believe, is what Zenith was saying earlier with their SEC thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Mrs. Producer, if you would do me the honor.
Oh, look at that green candle.
There
Hey,
you
look,
go.
we got context on the right-hand side too. Very nice.
There you go. 30% for that candle as of yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean finishing 2 hours ago.
Okay.
I mean, sure, but at the same time, like I said before, it's still well within the trading range throughout the rest of the year. So, like, even for 2024, it's still slightly down technically.
This is a daily chart, right?
This is a daily chart.
So XRP has solved Japan.
I think Japan might have solved Japan, but I don't know
That's
about
what
that.
No. Like, look at this price action, man. Go back down to the daily, or no, we're in weekly now. I'm guessing, yeah, that looks like that went down. Oh, never mind. That's too many days. Dang it. Okay, never mind. They started going down before Japan. Who would have thought? Anyway, I thought that it would have been a funny little blip if that was the case. All right, guys, I'm gonna do a couple final chat shoutouts and things, and then we're gonna go ahead and move towards closing the show out. So go ahead and get your final thoughts ready. We've got a question here from Just Live again. If you buy ETH off of Coinbase and it moves it all, is that not a taxable event right from the go? So Just Live, the only things that are taxable events are when you sell coins, and if you have a profit after you sell. And this is for American law, so I can't speak to any other country. But the only thing that you're taxed on is realized gains. You don't get anything from realized losses other than, like,
that's a big iffy, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of other things involved with that.
Yeah, anytime that you swap a coin for another coin, that's a taxable event. Anytime anytime that you get coins out of a vault, you take your yield out. But look, we're not tax experts. This isn't financial advice. But generally speaking, if it's just holding it and it's unrealized gains, as Will said, it's not taxable unless you're now. Who's doing that? Who's going to be doing that? Australia.
If you're in Australia.
Yeah, and that's a good clarification. Thank you for bringing that up. So anytime that you trade, anytime that you switch one thing for another, if there's a profit on that trade, then congratulations, you're getting taxed on that gain, and that's going to add up. If you're in America, that's going to add up to your big old bucket of yearly income, and the bigger that bucket gets, the higher you will be taxed for it. So just something to think about. And this doesn't matter if you're swapping from Ethereum into dollars, if you're swapping from Ethereum into Zen, Ethereum into Bitcoin, whatever, doesn't matter. If there is a profit on the trade, then at the time of the trade, then that is what's like that's what's considered taxable. And that's just the general idea that falls into the category of like income and wealth creation and things. All right, up next we've got Mr. Chris Corrigal saying, "What's up, fellas? What's up to you too, Mr. Chris Corrigal? Good to see you, good sir." Next up, we got Mr. Blockhead, or 0x Blockhead, saying, "Camel Gang motherfuckers." That's something that the Hex guys got on XRP, is that XRP does not have a camel clan. So shout out to the Richard Hart ecosystem folks and Mr. Fast Abdul and his camel clan and all this stuff going on there. You guys should check them out over at t.me / I believe it's just camel clan. We'll figure that out here in a second when we get to you for final shout outs and things, Mr. Fast Abdul. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but there's that. And then finally, we've got Mr. Paul Sachs. Isn't XRP the coin the banker's settlement lawyer? Or isn't the coin the banker's settlement layer? Right? I swear my neighbor told me that they're going to start doing it next January. And this is another running joke with XRP, is they've been saying like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing in the very near future. We promise it'll be all great and it'll be all fantastic." And they've just been like kicking the can down the road and not getting anything done. So that's the basic general gist of it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, we want to thank you guys for coming and joining us on this stream. Before we go, though, we're going to have some words from our panelists and anything that you guys want to shout out, any projects that you're working on in the near future, stuff where the folks can find you. Mr. Pulse Ray, we're going to go ahead and start with you, and then we'll go over to Fast Abdul, then Zenith Nate, and Bean, and finally myself. Mr. Pulse Ray, where can the folks find you? What have you got going on in the near future? And do you have any announcements for the folks at home?
Sure. You can catch us at agproject.io, and then I'm Pulse Ray Vision basically everywhere on YouTube and Telegram and X. In fact, this community, the DGen Roundtable community, is eligible for our airdrop that we're putting together. So we're in our mining phase for the next 15 days. Then we're going to start the claim phase. And there's actually 17 communities that we know of right now that are eligible for this airdrop. We're going to be putting together a pool with Mr. Fast Abdul over there on the Fux Exchange as part of their airdrop. But I mean, anytime you guys sign up for an airdrop or anything, you should practice good wallet hygiene and spin up a new address. But I know that you monkeys out there are going to exploit this airdrop like you do all airdrops. So listen really quick to this group of community members that if you're in these groups, you can spin up a new address for each one of these groups. So we got the people holding the red squirrels, the squirrel NFTs. Those guys, Frank Polancic with the Mastermind group, Sloth's Treehouse or his group, Randy Larsky knows No Permissions, Rags to Riches group, this DGen Roundtable group. If you took a course from Whitney Magic, you're on that list. Corey Costa, if you're part of his gang, you can DM me. And then, of course, Vibra Finance, if you're in his group. Fast Abdul, I covered the pool. Discourse Syndicate, so like RG3 and Wild SJ are putting together a list. Money Talk with Corey and Dane. Crypto Black Sheep's DGen Protocol. Forge NFT holders. Fashion Coder, and Vets in Crypto as well, if you're part of their group. So that's about 17 different wallets you can spin up and get one of those sweet airdrops. And and we also I just posted our first 6 chapters of our book, both in text form and in audio form from AI. So if you guys want to listen to Rings of Dust, where it talks about kind of the little Easter eggs and tokenomics that we're working with over here, give that a listen while you guys are out mowing the lawn or driving your forklifts at work or whatever. So thanks. Yeah. And you can DM me if you're part of those groups, or DM those people if they're putting together lists. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Most certainly,
brother.
sir. I'm going to also drop your X handle in the chats as well as soon as I finish finding it. Mr. Fast Abdul, where can the folks find you, and what kind of projects have you got going on in the near future, my friend?
Thanks, Will. So the best place to find me is just via our website. So that's 2, like the number 2, phux.io. So at 2 fucks, we give more fucks. And there's links there to our Telegram, to our Twitter. Everything is there, except for the Camel Clan that we're keeping a little bit separate. And I think you got it right, Will. It's just t.me/Camel Clan. You can find that on Telegram. And we're going to be launching some meme coins that will be given away for free as bonus yield to people participating in yield farms on 2 fucks very, very soon. There's been some controversy with that issue. Matty Allen is supporting us. Not everybody is supporting Matty Allen. It's been very interesting. A very interesting day. So, yeah, happy for that. And happy to have a couple of beers with you guys and to not get eaten by a bear today.
Excellent. Yep, I see you've got your spear, so you're ready for your anti-bear means and things. So I've gone ahead and dropped the 2fox.io as well as t.me/Camel Clan into the chats. So if you guys want to go visit those links, that's where to find them. Mr. Zenith, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future, my friend?
Folks, you can find me over here as always, and especially this Friday when we were covering for book club The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. It is a bit of a shorter read. It's about 3 hours on audiobook for the free version you can find on Audible, so heads up, that's where that is at. But yeah, this is actually a recommendation from none other than Mr. Angry Twinkie. So looking to cover that, very excited. And then other than that, we got a lot of stuff coming out. We got the usual Sunday show. I'm sure we're going to have even more somehow to talk about for all the crazy macro stuff going on this week. But other than that, yeah, that is what we got going on. And as always, find me on Instagram and Twitter at ZenithDI or the link tree, like we'll post it down below. And then I guess final shout out. Pulsray mentioned it, but Vets in Crypto, good buddy of ours. I believe he's actually part of a project that's launching something soon. So go hit him up on Twitter as well on his channel. I think he and Randy Hilarski are partnering up for something, and I think he was in the chat earlier. So give them a look as well. Not sure what it is, but we like to support the boys around here.
Gotcha. Excellent. All right, Mr. Nate, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future?
Oh, well, you can find me over on the Twitter Spaces as well as the Telegram, right? So I've been doing a lot of research lately, just kind of hitting up as much information as I possibly can. And I share like a wild beast when I have the time on Twitter, giving as much absolute information as possible for people, in which I also share this information and a little bit extra, by the way, when you join our Telegram, which is if you imagine my finger going directly through Zenith's head, it is right there. And of course, when that happens, there's gonna be blood everywhere. So when we're having these situations in the market where there is blood on the streets, you're wondering, oh my God, what is happening? Everything's going to zero. What should I do? Get into our Telegram, simply ask a question. We can help you out there. And then you can get weirdos like me who are like, yay, this is the funnest thing in the world, because I know we're only going up from here. So yes, get in there. Follow my Twitter, which I will put into the chat now. Bam. All right, there it is. So yeah, go ahead, give me a follow. You're going to be getting a ton of information, though. Just a little warning if you go ahead and follow me. So yeah, other than that, I will be book club like always. And then yeah, I'll just move it over to Bean. What is going on with you, sir?
Not too much. Just in the Telegram, hammering information left and right this week. There's been a lot. And if you're in our chat, you realize that you had information far before other people, and that's because we want to bring you it first, before X, before other influencers. We are here for you. So we appreciate you watching us, subscribing, being part of our Telegram, liking. Go like our friends and their projects. We really appreciate Pulsray and his opportunity to add the DGen community to his airdrop. And 2fox Protocol is doing phenomenal things. Shout out from Matty Allen today. I saw that. Fast Abdul, congrats on that. Replacing the Orange Men. That's what I heard. I'm not saying.
Something like that. Yeah, it's been controversial.
Hey, look, a lot of controversy going on in Pulse Chain. When there's red candles, always controversy, right? We get green candles, nobody cares because everyone's doing well.
Yep. We have a message of cooperation. So whoever wants to cooperate, come cooperate.
As
I
he
like
puts his spear down.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but
it's
honestly,
always handy to have a spear.
I don't have anything else to share. Look, stay tied in. The markets are crazy. Buy when you can buy, sell when you can sell. But don't make knee-jerk reactions. Stay level-headed, and that's what we try to keep you ready to do in the chat. So, well,
Excellent.
what you got? Take us away.
All right. Real quick before we end the show, shout out to zephyrtrips.pls from a watcher over there on X. So shout out to him. And then finally, Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. Good to see you again as well, sir. All right. For the folks at home who don't know, you guys can find me and everything that I do over at will.pls.fyi. That's essentially the Pulse Chain domains link tree where you can find all my work and everything. All my socials, you guys can stalk me everywhere over there. I'm super duper doxed and everything. If you guys don't already know, you guys could watch the DGen Roundtable Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We stream right here at generally about 2 hours each of those days. So from 8 to 10 Eastern, right here at youtube.com/@DGen Roundtable. I want to thank all the folks at home who are spending or choosing to spend their valuable time with us. We know that time is your most valuable asset. To quote our very own Agent J of the DGen Roundtable, who you guys saw in the chats earlier. Other than that, as far as stuff going on this Sunday, I think we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna cover the things that we cover. Friday, Zenith has already talked about book club. I think that's it for any announcements, Mrs. Producer. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I don't see anything in the private chats. Go ahead and get your trigger finger ready because my hands are free right now. So you're going to go ahead and finish the show out for us. We want to, again, thank you guys for spending your time with us. And I want to remember to remind you guys, God damn, I'm too drunk right now. I want to remind you guys to remember to DGen responsibly.